How's it going, everybody? This is Ray with the Houston Film Fanatics, iHeartRadio, Sunny 99.1. I am here with somebody very, very funny, very, very awesome writer,
very,
director.
very tall.
Very, very tall.
Thank you.
A little bit taller than me. A lot taller than me. Stephen Merchant. Thank you so, so much for coming and talking with us today.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, you have a new movie that's out, Fighting with My Family. It's going to be hitting theaters, I believe,
February 22nd.
February 22nd. All right, cool. So basically, that is the story of WWE star Paige. You wrote it, directed it. How did you get involved with this project?
This movie began life as a documentary on British TV that was seen initially by someone you may have heard of, a young and aspiring wrestler turned actor called Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I know Dwayne from a movie we did together some years ago called Tooth Fairy. You're welcome. And we'd stayed in touch all those years, and he was in London. He was shooting one of the Fast and Furious movies, and he saw this documentary about this family. And they're a real-life family of wrestlers from England. Mum, dad, 3 kids, they all wrestle. And he, coming from a wrestling family himself, was really moved by this story. They have these 2 teenage kids, and they wanted to get them into WWE, which, you know, for wrestlers is as big as it gets, particularly if you're from England. And so the kids auditioned, and what happened next, you know, is the sort of subject of the movie, and it's a very emotional, funny, uplifting story following their adventures. And he brought it to me. I didn't know anything about wrestling. I just fell in love with this family and their story, and we made the movie.
Now, what was Paige's reaction to seeing the finished product for the first time?
Well, you know, she's been through a lot herself, as have her family, and I went to Florida, where the WWE is based, and I showed her the movie. I left her in a room not much bigger than this one to watch the film, and then I kind of stepped outside because I felt otherwise I'd just be in there the whole time, you know, just staring at her, seeing her reaction.
No pressure.
Yeah, right. So I left her to it, and by the end she texted me and she said, listen, would you come back in because I'm in tears and I don't want to come out and let the other wrestlers see me crying. And she was really moved by the story. I think she, you know, it covers a period in her life which was really tough, but which ultimately had a really happy ending. But so she was very, very moved and very and gave me a hug and was saying, you know, thank you so much, and how beautiful it is and how much it reflects the love she has for her family and them for her. So she was very pleased.
Now, how do you go about writing something like this? I mean, of course, there's a lot of really funny parts in the movie, but it is very heartfelt as well. So how is it, you know, switching gears between the comedy, between bringing, you know, the heart of the story to it, and not only that, telling a true story?
Well, firstly, I met with the family, and they are as sort of crazy and odd as the movie portrays them. You know, they're very loving, but they're real rough and tumble working class family. You know, and so I wanted to try and capture that spirit. I spent a lot of time talking to them and talking to Paige and talking to Dwayne himself, because Dwayne had become involved in her life as a WWE star, and he'd given her advice along the way. And so I spoke to them. I did a lot of research about wrestling because I didn't know anything about it, and then a lot of it was just deciding, you know, what to include and what not to include, because, you know, obviously someone's real life this story actually took place over about 3 or 4 years, and I've only got 90 minutes to tell the story, so I had to really compress stuff. So in the end, I just kind of pulled out what she told me were the real important moments of the story, and kind of made them the things on which to hang the rest of the tale. And like I say, you know, when you hang out with them, and if you just keep your ears awake, you'll just pick up the way they speak, and so I think we sort of managed to capture them.
So having not been, I mean, were you a wrestling fan before, or is this totally new world for you?
Completely new world for me, and I wanted to make a film that was for both the fans and for the non-fans. I want people like me who aren't interested in the subject to still really love this movie. And it reminded me, when I first heard the story, of movies like Billy Elliot. You remember that, which was about a kid who wanted to be a ballet dancer, but you don't need to like ballet to enjoy that movie. And it was the same for this. You don't need to like wrestling to enjoy it. And even I think with something like Rocky, and this to me had a real kind of Rocky underdog story. You don't need to love boxing to love Rocky. You know, it's about his dream, it's about his passion, and so that's what I was trying to do with this one.
Well, you did a great job with the casting, and there are so many talented actors in it. What was the process like getting the casting just right for this?
Well, we were very lucky enough to have Nick Frost and Lena Headey from Game of Thrones to play the parents, and they're terrific, because Nick, you know, you'll know him from those Edgar Wright movies like Shaun of the Dead. He's just so naturally funny and charming and lovable, but looks a little bit like Paige's real father. And then Lena, you know, was, you know her from Game of Thrones, and so the idea of taking that very regal kind of scary presence, and then turning her into this sort of lovable working class wrestling mother is, you know, I was like, really, is that going to work? But we met and she talked and she was very passionate about the project, and she does a great job. And then for the teenage son and daughter, we had to find some younger actors, and it was very hard to find a woman that can play this real life person, because she needed to be able to wrestle, she needed to have the charisma that you'd believe she could become a star, she needed to have the talent to carry this movie, because it's really about her. And I saw about 60 different young actresses, and in the end I ended up with this great actress called Florence Pugh, who just completely inhabits the role and learned to wrestle, and she's paired up with this great young actor called Jack Loudon, and so they actually nail it. I think the family feel really very much like the real family. We have Vince Vaughn in it as her trainer, who's just a joy, and Dwayne himself as The Rock. I didn't want Dwayne to play himself, I'll be honest. I didn't think he had it in him to play himself, so I was kind of out there. I was hoping maybe Dave Bautista or Jason Momoa, Aquaman, would do it, but they weren't available, so I ended up settling for The Rock. But he does a fine performance. And then, of course, you get to see me as well, and that's where the real glamour comes in.
Now, one of the scenes that I really like in the movie, towards the end, of course, you've got this big wrestling scene. Now, you actually filmed that at a WWE event?
The WWE gave us 1 hour after one of their live Monday night telecasts, and they said, well, you can come in the ring. We'll keep the audience in the stadium. I don't mean they locked the doors. I mean they just said
you cannot leave.
They said we'll keep them back, and you get 1 hour to shoot in the ring. And so we were at the Staples Centers in LA. The telecast ends, and then The Rock goes out, and he kind of emceed the event. And he and I said to him, listen, when you get out there in the ring, people are going to be excited to see you. Don't get carried away, because we've only got an hour to shoot everything.
Right.
And so he goes, yeah, no problem. Goes out there, did 20 minutes on the mic. He's talking to the fans, he's making phone calls. I'm like, what are you? And I can't really communicate to him because he's in the ring, and I'm the only person who's ever been screaming to The Rock to get out of a wrestling ring. And eventually he does. We bring out Florence. You know, she's 18 years old when we. She's 18 or 19 years old. She's done a little bit of wrestling training, but she has to walk out in front of 20,000 people and recreate this match. It was like the 4th day of shooting, and I was so petrified and nervous for her, and she was just as cool as ice. She was unbelievable. She just went out there, just did an amazing job, and we had this great finale.
Well, the movie is a lot of fun to watch. Like I said, there's a lot of really funny moments in this movie. It is very, very heartfelt, and it's definitely one that you guys are going to need to check out. Thank you so much, Stephen, for talking with us today. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Ray, Houston Film Fanatics. We'll catch you guys next time, and we'll see you.